Darkness. It was an ordinary day, broad daylight. I had gone to my aunt's house. Her home was only a short walk from ours. Kannan, her youngest son, was my age. I think we were about 6 years old then. The two of us were quietly playing inside the house. After lunch, my aunt lay down on the cot for her afternoon rest. A little while later, my stomach began to feel unsettled. So I told Kannan and stepped outside. The sun was blazing. Yet there was an unusual stillness in the afternoon. My aunt's property was large. In the middle of the yard stood a huge mango tree, tall and thick with leaves, casting a wide patch of cool shade. Earlier, Kannan and I had been playing and chatting beneath it. But my aunt had called us inside because of the heat. That day, I needed to go to the toilet, and that was a problem. These days, bathrooms and toilets are built inside the house. Back then, things were different. The bathing area would usually be near the well, while the toilet would be built further away from the house, which meant I had to fetch water from the well and carry it there in a bucket. If I had asked Kannan, he would have helped. If I had woken my aunt, she would have helped too. But none of that occurred to me. I thought I could manage by myself. So I drew water from the well, filled a bucket, and began walking toward the toilet, which stood a good distance from the house. The bucket was heavy. I kept switching hands as I walked. Among the narrow path, pomegranate bushes grew here and there. They looked beautiful, and I remember admiring them as I walked. I had covered more than half the distance when my arms began to ache. I set the bucket down on the ground, shook out my hands, and straightened up. For a moment I froze. It was as though I had forgotten how to breathe. What was I looking at? A dark human-shaped figure. It had no visible face, no hands, no feet, no recognizable features at all. Yet, unmistakably, it was shaped like a person. Imagine a human form completely covered in swarming black bees. That was what it looked like. The figure stood behind the toilet, staring directly at me. Then, still watching me, it slipped inside. I saw it. A second later, it leaned out from inside and peeked at me again, before pulling itself back in. I couldn't scream. I couldn't cry. Fear didn't come as tears. It came as shock. My whole body prickled with cold. Something inside me suddenly took over. Leaving the bucket exactly where it was, I turned and ran. I ran straight into my aunt's house and stopped near the doorway, gasping for breath. What happened? Kannan asked, frightened. I couldn't answer immediately. My hands were trembling. My aunt sat up and pulled me closer. Why are you shaking like this? Only after several moments could I stammer out what I had seen. She listened quietly. There was no fear or surprise on her face. "There?" she asked simply. I nodded. Slowly she stood up, took Kannan with her, and walked outside. I was too frightened to stay behind alone, so I followed them. My bucket was still where I had left it. As we approached the toilet, my heart began pounding again, but there was no one there. My aunt walked around to the back of the toilet. Then she smiled and held up an old black sack. It had snagged on a thorny fence and was swaying in the breeze. Sunlight, shadows, fear. Sometimes they make our eyes see things differently, she said. Kannan started laughing. I tried to laugh too, but was that really what I had seen? I remembered it too clearly. The way it had walked inside, the way it had leaned out and looked at me again. I didn't speak about it to anyone after that. We played for the rest of the afternoon. As evening deepened and darkness slowly gathered, I remembered it was time to go home. I said goodbye to my aunt and began walking back. As I mentioned, our house was only a short walk away. I crossed beneath the great mango tree and opened the gate. Just then I heard my aunt calling me again. I turned around. She was hurrying toward me, holding something in her hand. When she reached me, she placed it in my palm, a small piece of charcoal. "Here," she said softly, "keep this in your hand while you walk home." I took it. She turned and went back inside. I stepped out through the gate. Then, suddenly, something made me stop. An uneasy feeling. I turned my eyes once more toward the distant toilet. And there it was, in the fading light of dusk, the same dark figure standing outside the toilet, waiting. Even after all these years, that quiet afternoon, the shadow of the mango tree, and that black figure standing behind the toilet have never completely left my memory. Some things can be explained, but some memories remain with you long after the explanations have run out. Thank you.